I'm Batman.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the all-star team of players in both of our premier comic book sandboxes.
Hope the food's better in this joint.
Number 30, Sylvester Stallone, Stacaro Gord, and King Shark. After his time as an action flick icon, it was only natural for Sly to join the comic book movie parade. For the MCU and James Gunn, he becomes the commanding leader of a Ravager clan.
You may dress like us, but you'll never hear the horns of freedom when you die, Yondu. And the colors of a gourd will never flash over your grave.
His complex history with Yondu adds to the sweeping emotion of Volume 2, and he serves as a key ally to the new Gamora in Volume 3. Meanwhile, for the DCEU and James Gunn again, Stallone plays a far more menacing yet lovable fella. As Nanawe, a humanoid shark and possible demigod, he serves as the team's heart and soul.
And?
Yes, that is your hand, Nanawe. Very good.
With both characters, the Rocky Star provides a steadying veteran presence, even with their brief screen time and limited dialogue. Number 29, James Marsden, Cyclops and Richard White. Though we fell in love with him as a prince from Andalasia, James Marsden's calling card is without question Scott Summers. Defined by his powerful optic blasts, the heroic mutant is a founder and central commander of the X-Men.
Aren't you going to welcome me home? Your bike needs gas. Fill her up.
While never really being a definitive adaptation of the character, he was an essential piece of the original trilogy, and a lot of that is thanks to Marsden, who nails the balance of hotshot maverick and natural leader. His time in the DC universe is more overlooked though. As Perry White's nephew and Lois Lane's fiancé, Richard is mostly a minor plot device in 2006's Superman Returns. But Marsden still shines through, giving a character that could be easily hateable his own charm and appeal.
Richard, we have to turn around!
What?
We have to turn the plane around!
Lois,
yes!
we barely made it out of there. Now you want me to go back?
Yes, please! He'll die.
All right, hold on.
Number 28, Zoe Kravitz, Angel Salvador, Mary Jane Parker, Selena Kyle, and Selena Kyle again. The 2010s saw Zoe Kravitz dip her toe into a handful of huge franchises. It all began, however, with her time as the high-flying Angel in X-Men First Class.
My, stage name is Angel. Kind of fits.
You can fly?
Uh-huh. And,
The character was intriguing and conflicted, becoming an early member of both the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Evil. Speaking of unclear allegiances, Kravitz is now best known as the iconic Catwoman. Her Selena is not only a cat burglar, but a scene stealer in Matt Reeves' acclaimed The Batman. She injected it with needed perspective and compelling thematic depth.
why don't you come with me? Get into some trouble. Knock off some CEO hedge fund types. It'll be fun. The Bat and the Cat.
Kravitz's double-duty work doesn't stop at live action, though. She also had an earlier stint as Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie, and voiced MJ Parker in the first Spider-Verse adventure.
I just wondered if we could have some more bread at table 12?
Yeah. I'm really sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry, it's just bread.
Oh.
Number 27, David Dastmalchian, Kurt Gorster, Veb, Thomas Schiff, and the Polka Dot Man. It's been a delight to watch this versatile character actor become a fan favorite. In the MCU, he charms our socks off as the hacker Kurt, one of Scott Lang's trusty team members. He later takes on a new role as Veb, an ally against Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But these comedic outings are actually a departure from his more sinister roots. The actor's debut was as Thomas Schiff in Chris Nolan's legendary The Dark Knight.
Let's go again.
I don't know anything. Don't.
In 2021, Dastmalchian returned to DC with the Suicide Squad. Abner, the Polka Dot Man Krill, boasts a uniquely colorful power set. Throw in a backstory of lost agency, and audiences could only cheer when he became a hero on his own terms.
Some lived. Some died.
And your mom, where is she now?
Everywhere.
Number 26, Tilda Swinton, The Ancient One and Gabriel. With her regal and almost ethereal vibe, this Oscar winner is at home in any universe. So her dual roles as a sorcerer supreme and a half-angel should come as no surprise. In DC lore, Gabriel torments Keanu Reeves' John Constantine with a twisted plot against humanity. Swinton's brilliantly androgynous portrayal expertly captures the character's spiritual turmoil.
I've been watching you for a long time. It's only in the face of horror that you truly find your noblest self. And you can be so noble.
Her time in the Sanctum Sanctorum, meanwhile, was just as successful. Swinton gave the mystic branch of the MCU a convincing lived-in quality. With her moral complexity and some kick-ass fights, the Ancient One served as the hidden heart of the first Doctor Strange film. Her final exchange with the new sorcerer may be one of the most poignant moments of the franchise.
You'd think after all this time I'd be ready. But look at me, stretching one moment out into 1,000. Just so that I can watch the snow.
Number 25, Russell Crowe, Zeus, Nikolai Kravinov, and Jor-El. This screen legend's spin on the King of Olympians in Thor: Love and Thunder was met with mixed reception. To be fair, saddling him with such cartoonish material does feel like a waste.
No, I can't hear you. Why don't you take the stage?
The stage down there?
Well, yes, you see the area that looks very much like a stage?
But while the role's tone wasn't beloved, Crowe still commits. And despite his frightful accent, there is something clever in playing Zeus like a tacky egomaniac. In the DCEU, his Jor-El of Krypton is held more fondly. Following a name like Marlon Brando is not easy, but Crowe holds his own. Man of Steel's extended prologue displays his action star chops, and later drops some peak voiceover.
But in time, they will join you in the sun, Cal. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
Over a decade later, Crowe would return as a less wholesome dad in Sony's Kraven the Hunter. Number 24, Andy Serkis, Ulysses Klaue, Null, and Alfred Pennyworth. There aren't many role combos as polar opposite as these. First appearing in Age of Ultron, Ulysses Klaue is a classic underground crime boss. Despite his bluster, the character was ultimately a pawn in Eric Killmonger's master plan.
To think I saw you as some crazy American.
Luckily, Serkis's famed motion capture skills did not go to waste. He served as a mocap consultant for both Mark Ruffalo and James Spader. More recently, he introduced us to a grizzled version of Alfred Pennyworth in The Batman. It's a stern and challenging foil for a more withdrawn, petulant Bruce Wayne. But all the while, Serkis never forgets Alfred's warm paternal side.
I could see the fear in your eyes, but I didn't know how to help. I could teach you how to fight, but I wasn't equipped to take care of you. You needed a father. And all you had was me.
In 2024, he played his second Marvel baddie, Null, the creator of symbiotes in Venom: The Last Dance. Number 23, Angela Bassett, Queen Ramonda, and Amanda Waller. Academy Award nominations for comic book movie performances are still rare, and for the MCU especially, it had never been done before Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever. She commands both Black Panther films with her captivating presence and effortless gravitas.
I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
As the Queen Mother, she's also a touchstone for every member of the series ensemble. But what's gone under the radar is her time as an infamous DC villain. Before the now iconic Viola Davis era, Amanda Waller first appeared in the ill-fated Green Lantern. As is her signature, the character pulled some strings from the shadows.
Dr. Hammond, there's something I'd like to show you. Something I'm fairly certain you'll want to see.
We would have loved to see more of Basset in the role, if only the movie hadn't fumbled the ball. Number 22, Colin Farrell, Bullseye and the Penguin. 2003's Daredevil is an artifact of its era. It's pulpy and melodramatic in all the most nostalgic ways, and Colin Farrell's unhinged turn perfectly fits that tone. His campy take on Bullseye brings the callous marksman to life.
He hired me to kill Nachos. And to gut your pretty girlfriend, too. But me, I'm going for the hat trick.
Nearly 20 years later, the actor's version of the Penguin in The Batman is similarly exaggerated, except this time, it has much stronger material. His Oz Cobb is brazen and deranged, yet sneakily thoughtful and almost idealistic. We'd put an emphasis on almost, though. Ferrell undergoes an unbelievable transformation for the role, and it's not just the makeup and prosthetics. His voice and mannerisms are near unrecognizable.
I got you! I got you! Take that, you friggin' psycho! I got you!
The performance received immediate acclaim, which has only grown with a spin-off series for HBO. Number 21, Christian Bale, Gore the God Butcher, and Bruce Wayne. Christopher Nolan's legendary The Dark Knight trilogy is known for its epic ensembles. At its core, though, is Christian Bale. His Bruce Wayne provides a backbone for the series, with playboy bravado and small, pained looks.
Rachel, all this, it's not me. It's inside. I am more.
While some can't get past his Batman voice, the combo is undeniably a knockout. It's an all-time character matched with one of the industry's greatest talents.
Little fight in you. I like that. And you're gonna love me.
In 2022, Bale joined Thor: Love and Thunder as the sinister Gore. As the God Butcher, he anchors the breezy caper in real texture and emotion. He leaves his mark on the MCU with striking physicality and a magnetic aura. His story also poignantly reminds Thor of the value of being human, even when one is a god. Number 20, Zoe Saldana, Gamora and Aisha.
Gamora, surgically modified and trained as a living weapon. The adopted daughter of the mad titan Thanos.
As soon as Zoe Saldana appeared as Gamora in 2014, we knew she had been perfectly cast for the part. She skillfully played the part of an alien warrior with a seriously bad dad and a heart of gold. Since Saldana's so tied to this Marvel Guardian now, many fans have forgotten her stint in another universe. In 2010, Saldana appeared with a few other recognizable actors in the adaptation of DC's The Losers. Her role as Aisha ironically had her playing the daughter of a Bolivian bad guy who ultimately ends up helping the heroes.
I don't know the endgame. What I do know is when Max takes an interest in something, people die and world maps get redrawn.
In this role and her future tenure as Gamora, Saldana believably plays a tough character that you do not want to double-cross.
I'm no family to Ronan or Thanos.
Number 19, Chris Pine, Peter Parker and Steve Trevor.
My name is Peter Parker. I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for 10 years, I've been the one and only Spider-Man.
The first Peter Parker we meet in the wonderful Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is played by Chris Pine. He gives such a charming and layered performance that we're genuinely sad to see him perish so early on in the movie. Fortunately, we've gotten to spend much more time with Pine's Steve Trevor in the DCEU.
Name is Captain Steve Trevor, pilot, American Expeditionary Forces, serial number 8141.
The dashing Air Service captain was always focused on saving lives and encouraged Wonder Woman to travel outside her island to help end World War I. After doing plenty of good, he sacrifices his life to prevent a huge disaster. And when he was magically revived in the sequel, he had to say goodbye again. We hope Pine gets to play a comic book character whose career doesn't end tragically.
This crazy new world. And I am so happy I got to see it. What it deserves you.
Number 18, Halle Berry, Storm and Catwoman.
You boys thought you could come in here and steal all these beautiful things? What a perfect idea.
Oscar-winning actress Halle Berry infamously earned a Razzie Award for playing Catwoman in a disastrous film. Although she tried her best to make the thief a compelling character, there was no way she could make the questionable direction and awful dialogue work.
Game over. Guess what? It's overtime.
Berry got a much better platform to display her talents in the X-Men universe. Her portrayal of Storm was simply electrifying. Not only did she nail the character's iconic look, she also brought a regal presence into every scene she appeared in. We're glad Barry's bad turn as Catwoman didn't stop her from playing Storm and securing roles in other memorable action movies.
You sure you're on the right side?
At least I've chosen a side.
Number 17, Lawrence Fishburne, Silver Surfer, Bill Foster, and Perry White.
Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
When Superman started working at the Daily Planet, Lawrence Fishburne's Perry White was there to forge the Man of Steel into a sharp reporter. Although he had no superpowers, we still would not want to get on his bad side. Fishburne played another intimidating figure without special abilities in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You have no idea.
Actually, I do. Back in the day, I was Hank's partner on a project called Goliath.
But even though he sided with a villain, we couldn't help but relate to his sad backstory. We felt just as bad for Fishburne when he lent his voice to the Silver Surfer in a Fantastic Four movie. His emotional vocal performance was definitely the best part of the Marvel sequel.
Another world awaits. Let it be done quickly.
Number 16, Tommy Lee Jones, Chester Phillips, and Two-Face.
What about the others? Are you planning a rescue mission?
Yeah, it's called winning the war.
While Tommy Lee Jones isn't the first name you think of when it comes to superhero movies, his signature directness lends itself perfectly to certain characters. His blunt delivery made him the perfect person to play the strict Colonel Chester Phillips in the first Captain America. However, we're still wondering who made the head-scratching decision to have him play Two-Face in Batman Forever.
Luck! Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless luck!
The version of the villain Jones plays is ridiculously campy and a far cry from what we're used to. But we'd be lying if we said it wasn't entertaining to watch Two-Face absolutely devour the scenery. Although we don't know if Jones will ever give us another stoic or zany comic portrayal, we're thankful he's made his past roles memorable.
No more riddles, no more curtains 1 and 2, just plain curtains.
Number 15, Zachary Levi, Fandral, and Billy Batson / Shazam.
Fandral.
Right. For Asgard.
We wouldn't blame you if you didn't recall seeing Zachary Levi in the MCU. Although he played one of the Warriors 3, we didn't get a ton of screen time to know his character or backstory. Over in the DC universe, Levi was chosen to be front and center of the Shazam franchise.
What happened to me? What did you do to me? What did you do to my voice?
He represents what the teenage Billy Batson looks like when he transforms into a superhero. Levi brought so much energy to the role that we believed he was a real teenager in an adult body. And when it came time for him to get serious, he looked and sounded like a true hero. Although we're sure Levi could have shone as Fandral, he was clearly born to play Shazam.
Are you making some of my big evil guy's speech right now or something? You're like a mile away from me right now, cars.
Number 14, Michael Fassbender, Magneto, and Burke.
You know you look like a right freak, don't you? Tell me, what's it like to go through life with a face like that?
It's hard to believe that the legendary Michael Fassbender played the scenery-chewing henchman Burke in Jonah Hex. Thankfully, most people forgot about that one-dimensional character as soon as the actor started playing Magneto.
The only thing I'm guilty of is fighting for people like us.
You take karate? You know karate, man?
I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
Fassbender made sure we felt the pain that the master of magnetism had to endure growing up under the mercy of vicious tormentors. Unfortunately, the darkness inside of him eventually pushed him to become a dangerous supervillain. Fassbender brought something new to Magneto every time he reprised the role. He pulled us into theaters whenever we knew he was going to float into the story.
Very heroic, Mr. President. But you had no intention of sparing any of us. The future of our species begins now.
Number 13, Jamon Hounsou, Papa Midnight, Korath, King Riku, and the Wizard.
Demons stay in hell, angels in heaven. The great detente of the original superpowers.
Thanks for the history lesson, Midnight.
Jamon Hounsou might have the widest variety of comic book movie roles on his resume than any other actor on this list. His first major role came when he played Papa Midnight in Constantine. Nearly 10 years later, Hounsou played the villainous Korath for the first time. When he wasn't busy returning to his role, he played King Riku in the first Aquaman movie.
It is the position of the fishermen that when the time comes to make ourselves known to the landsmen, it shall be to educate them.
Honu rounded out his big screen comic appearances by portraying the titular wizard in 2019's Shazam.
Only the purest of hearts can resist their temptations. But you will never be worthy.
No matter whether the actor was playing an alien enforcer or ancient magic user, his committed and strong performances stood out. Honu's fantastic range makes us excited to see what comic character he might play next.
Speak my name!
I don't know your name, sir. We just met.
My name is Shazam.
Number 12, Michelle Pfeiffer, Janet Van Dyne, and Selena Kyle.
Meow.
In 1992, audiences saw Michelle Pfeiffer go from being an introverted secretary to becoming the unforgettable Catwoman. The character knew how to use those claws, whips, and charms to disarm and defeat her enemies. Pfeiffer also wasn't afraid to show us how vulnerable Catwoman still was underneath her dominating persona.
Oh my god. Does this mean we have to start fighting?
Long after the actress hung up the claws, she put on a shrinking suit to make a big splash in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Her Janet Van Dyne is a nobler figure who is willing to show kindness to her enemies. While Pfeiffer's Marvel role is more tame than her Catwoman personality, it's still great to see her lend her talents to another superhero franchise.
Miss Van Dyne. It's nice to... Well, I guess we've already met.
I guess we have.
Number 11, Hugo Weaving, Red Skull and V.
You are just afraid to admit that we have left humanity behind. Unlike you, I embrace it proudly.
During Cap's 2011 adventure, we met his mortal enemy Red Skull. Hugo Weaving managed to give a performance that could go from campy to terrifying at a moment's notice. On the other end of the spectrum, we saw him play the masked freedom fighter V.
Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate.
Watching him fight against a totalitarian London with little more than his knives and awesome alliteration was thrilling. Since the two characters are so wildly different from each other, it's really difficult to say which performance we prefer more. The only thing we know for certain is that V and Red Skull would definitely be at each other's throats if they were ever in the same room together.
Beneath this mask there is an idea, Mr. Creedy. And ideas are bulletproof.
Number 10, J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, and Commissioner Gordon.
I plotted all the sightings of Metropolis, Gotham. No discernible pattern I can see.
After voicing a couple of DC characters on TV, J.K. Simmons finally appeared in a live-action DCEU project as Commissioner Gordon. While he was a pretty decent Gotham lawman, his most iconic comic book portrayal will always be J. Jonah Jameson. Simmons managed to make an antagonistic journalist into one of the most lovable characters in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films.
Spider-Man, hero or menace? Exclusive Daily Bugle photos.
Menace? He was protecting that armored
I'll tell
car
you what,
from those-
Atticus, you take the pictures, I'll make up the headlines, okay? All right? That okay with you?
He could make us cringe or laugh with just a facial expression alone. Since Simmons was so great in the role, they brought him back to play Jameson again in an entirely different universe. Fans are more than happy to let him step into the hilarious media mogul shoes for as long as he wants.
But that's not all, folks. Here's the real blockbuster.
Number 9, Idris Elba, Heimdall, Moreau, Roke, and Bloodsport.
How fair the stars.
Still shining. From here, I could see 9 realms and 10 trillion souls.
Most Marvel fans will recognize this phenomenal British actor as the Guardian of Asgard who sees all there is to see throughout the 9 realms. As Heimdall, Elba portrayed a stoic badass who preserved Asgard's laws and stood watch on the Bifrost. He also tried to fight for good as Moreau in the second Ghost Rider film.
My name is Moreau. My brothers are dead, as should I be, if not for the intervention of God.
Elba definitely was a little more lax with the rules when he played explosives expert Roke in The Losers. However, he really got to flex his villainous side in his role as Bloodsport in The Suicide Squad. Elba was able to make what could have been a run-of-the-mill mercenary into a layered character. His turn as Bloodsport showed the actor still has plenty to bring to the superhero genre.
If we all go free, it never has to see the light of day.
I told you I'd make you a leader, Dubois.
Number 8. Ben Affleck, Matt Murdock, and Bruce Wayne.
Who made you judge?
You did.
There's no getting around the fact that Academy Award winner Ben Affleck played Daredevil in a movie that exists, and that is about the nicest thing we can say on the subject. After that disaster, he decided to take a go at another iconic character and become Batman. Affleck was much better suited to play a weathered and violent version of the Caped Crusader.
We're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
Oh, yes it has, sir.
Despite his edgier nature, his Batman was still warm enough to recruit other heroes to his cause. Affleck's work on the role definitely redeemed his tarnished comic book reputation. Every time he put on the suit and waded into a fight, we couldn't take our eyes off the screen.
Believe me, I'll do it!
I believe you.
Number 7. Willem Dafoe, Norman Osborn, and Vulko.
You're a formidable fighter on land, but here you're out of your element, literally. Ormus spent his entire life underwater, training to be a warrior, training to be the best.
You taught me how to fight, Cobra Kai.
Let's see if you remember anything.
Aquaman wouldn't have been ready to be king without Vulko in his corner. This loyal and stern Atlantean was always there to lend a word of wisdom to Arthur Curry. Before playing this questionably good character, Dafoe took on the role of Norman Osborn, also known as Green Goblin.
Back to formula. Dr. Osborn, I'm going to be frank with you.
It was fascinating to watch him play a normal businessman that slowly unravels during the movie. While Dafoe played certain parts of the role completely seriously, he could also ham up certain scenes to make them even more entertaining. We still find ourselves quoting this sinister villain's lines today thanks to the actor's iconic delivery.
Deliver us! Finish it! Finish it!
Number 6. Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, and Bane.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big guy.
For you.
Every aspect of Tom Hardy's portrayal of Bane was perfect. He perfected the supervillain's intelligence, menace, and impressive strength. Even the odd voice has grown on fans over time.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
Years after Hardy played a straight-up DC comic book villain, he took a stab at playing the Marvel anti-hero Eddie Brock. After this reporter bonds with an alien symbiote, he becomes capable of taking the names and heads of anyone who gets him angry. Hardy brings a surprising amount of humor and likability to this dark role. After seeing him appear in 2 films and counting as Brock, we're glad he was given permission to try being an anti-hero after playing Bane.
What the hell are you? We are Venom.
Number 5. Ryan Reynolds, Hannibal King, Wade Wilson again, and Hal Jordan.
I can tell you 2 things. 1, your hairdo is ridiculous.
Not everyone can bounce back from starring in 3 superhero duds. Reynolds first tried his hand at a Marvel property by playing Hannibal King in Blade Trinity. After that movie failed to impress, he appeared as Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Although he was funny, no one laughed when his character was radically redesigned so he couldn't even speak. Reynolds found even more infamy when he went over to DC to star in the critically panned Green Lantern.
Ah, Green! Wow. I know, right?
After all of these setbacks, the actor got to play Wade Wilson properly in the first Deadpool. Seeing him crush the role there and in other films while making fun of his past flops is awesome and cathartic.
And please don't make the super suit green. Or animated.
Number 4. Natalie Portman, Jane Foster, and Evie Hammond.
Is that how you see it? Like an equation?
What was done to me was monstrous.
And they created a monster.
Neither the Guy Fawkes masked anarchist or the God of Thunder could have succeeded without Natalie Portman's help. As Evie Hammond, she portrayed a woman whose normal life is uprooted when she's drafted into V's cause. Over the course of the movie, she finds the strength to fight back against corruption.
Why are you doing this?
Because he was right.
About what?
That this country needs more than a building right now. Needs hope.
Portman later made waves in the superhero genre again when she started playing the quirky astrophysicist Jane Foster. She actively tried her best to use her intelligence and know-how to help gods and earthlings alike. Then, of course, she was upgraded big time to Mighty Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder.
First off, the name is Mighty Thor! And secondly, if you can't say Mighty Thor, I'll accept Dr. Jane Foster!
Number 3. Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, Steve Rogers, and Jake Jensen.
Johnny, this is Dolce.
Even before the birth of the MCU, Chris Evans made his mark on the superhero scene as the hot-headed Human Torch in the Fantastic Four franchise. He hopped over to DC to play a computer expert named Jake Jensen in The Losers. While both those performances were certainly entertaining, neither role could match the impact Evans made as Captain America.
This is the fight of our lives, and we're gonna win. Whatever it takes.
Over the course of 8 years, he made us believe in the Star-Spangled Man. He saved the world time and time again while being unfailingly loyal and incredibly courageous. And as an added bonus, Evans got to kick off one of the most noteworthy action scenes of the 2010s.
Avengers! Assemble.
Number 2. Josh Brolin, Cable, Thanos, and Jonah Hex.
Well, if you get yourself into a jam, I imagine you can find me.
Although comic book fans might not be eager to revisit Brolin's turn as DC's Jonah Hex, his later roles in Marvel films more than made up for that underwhelming movie. The actor had the perfect look and gruff demeanor to play a convincing Cable in Deadpool 2.
My name's Cable. I'm from the future. Just walk away.
His great chemistry with Ryan Reynolds and superb action scenes left us wanting more. As great as Cable was, there's no denying that his best comic role to date is Thanos.
It nearly killed me. But the work is done. It always will be.
He managed to make an evil purple titan who wanted to wipe out half of all life sound like a reasonable individual. Brolin's awe-inspiring work set the gold standard for how comic book villains should be portrayed.
What I'm about to do to your stubborn, annoying little planet, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Michael Keaton, Adrian Toomes, and Bruce Wayne.
Gotta hurry.
Oh, thank you.
It was set up to look like I did this.
No sweat. I'll just tell the police I was kidnapped by an ugly birdman with fish breath.
Back in the 1980s, people were skeptical that Michael Keaton could play the Dark Knight. But once he put on the costume, it was clear he was Batman. He struck a great balance between the billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne and the frightening caped crusader. Decades after Keaton flew around Gotham as the Bat, he soared over NYC as the Vulture. He was incredibly intimidating in the role.
You walk through those doors, you forget any of this happened. And don't you ever interfere with my business again.
When his scary persona was combined with his sympathetic motivations, he became one of the MCU's best villains. There are plans for Keaton to make appearances as both characters in future films. The fact that he's playing a hero and villain in two separate universes 30 years after his first comic book role makes Keaton one of a kind.
We're the same. We're the same. Split. Right down the center.
Can you name any more members of this exclusive club? Let us know in the comments.
The Cavalrine. The legends are true. And may I say, sir, on behalf of all humanity, this just feels right.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.